Glare at all?
We're on. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Brad Weber with Local Umbrella Media. I forgot who I was with here. Welcome to Simply Local San Diego. We're having some fun here, and we kind of got caught in the startup phase. But anyway, I have a very special guest, and you'll find out why. Mr. Jim Holden. Jim's the founder and of Fish for Life, nonprofit up in Orange County. And Jim, thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Brad, for inviting me on the show.
Well, I've only known you for several months, probably less than a year, but you invited me a few months ago up to you. Let's talk about first what you do, and I'll tell you why I wanted to not only have you on the show, but also start this in San Diego. So this is Simply Local San Diego, and we'll talk about this event coming up on November 13th. But let's get a little background on Fish for Life.
Sure.
What you do, why you do it, what the background is, and then we'll talk about the event here in San Diego coming up really soon.
Okay. Well, what we do is we take special needs children fishing, and it's not a typical fishing trip. Loaded with many features, a lot of entertainment. We've been doing this 13 years, primarily out of Dana Point, but we also do it on the East Coast out of New Jersey. We've had trips up in Long Beach, Ensenada, Chicago, and we're looking to expand it in other ocean-bearing ports nationwide. And, the program had started, back in 2006, 2009. I was kind of at that stage of life looking for a purpose, for a calling. And during those years, I was taking a friend of mine's son out to lunch. His name's Jeffrey. About every 2 months, he has cerebral palsy, and pick him up from work. We'd go to McDonald's and just talk about life. And in January of 2009, after lunch, I said, "Hey, Jeffrey, let's go do something. What would you like to go do?" And he lit up, said, "I'd love to go fishing." That was the inception of Fish for Life. Dropped him off at the house. On the way back, it was just overwhelmed with the clarity of a calling. Hey, take a boatload. And that's how it all started.
Well, what kid, special needs or not? I mean, fishing, I know when I was a kid that you dreamed of fishing, and I think most kids, once they're exposed to it, it's just one of those natural things that kids love. And it's just a great thing that you're doing. So I will say, when was the last Dana Point event? Was that in?
That was in September.
September. Okay. So I went up, you invited me up, and I went up, and this just isn't a fishing trip. This is, I still talk about it all the time. I mean, when you lay that red carpet out and the band plays and you announce these kids and they walk down, it's like Hollywood, and they're the star of the show. And they've got photographers on both sides of the red carpet, and they've got people high-fiving them. And these kids are just beaming, and you can just see how, I sort of get teared up almost talking about it, because I was a volunteer, and every volunteer has two kids you work with, right? So you help them fish and help bait their line and talk to them and make sure they're okay and all that kind of stuff. And boy, I still remember that, and I swear for a week after that, it's about all I thought about just that day. So it's not just a fishing trip. This thing, I don't even know how to describe it unless you've been on one, but it's special.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give a brief overview on the model. Please. Okay. And when we developed this, and it's been a work in process, we've been adding more and more and more details to this. They're very well organized. But the way it works, first and foremost, like in Dana, for example, we'll have like 100 people aboard, 30 kids, 30 chaperones. They must have a chaperone, and 40 volunteers. All, a whole variety of special needs conditions, a lot of down kids, cerebral palsy. We've had blind kids, deaf kids. We've had the whole gamut. Most of the kids are autistic. And Brad, when I started out, it was like 1 out of every 100 some kids had autism. Now it's down to 1 in every 30 some kids. So it's just crazy. But what we do is, and also too, all trips are free. There's no cost at all to anybody. And will remain that way. And we do that with the help of sponsors. So the way it works is kids will show up at 8:00 in the morning. Everybody gets T-shirts once they're all checked in. Then we use the stern of the boat as a podium. We'll have some speakers, address the crowd. And then we have someone say a prayer. We have a kid typically sing the national anthem, and then we roll out that red carpet and introduce the kids one at a time. And I'll tell you, it's a big deal for them. It's because it's all about them, and it's we involve them in their little bio with their parent. Like, what would you like to be said about you? There's this one Down syndrome boy. I'll never forget. One time he called me 3 times, changing his bio, and the last time he said, "And make sure they know I'm a black belt." So it's just adorable.
Yeah.
And then the kids come down the red carpet through a gauntlet of volunteers, giving them high fives. They're also very sensitive to like some autistic kids that don't care to be touched. So we'll just wave them on.
Yep.
Board the boat, we shove off to the theme song of the Pirates of the Caribbean, go over to the bait barge. Then we get a harbor escort from the sheriff's department with a fireboat, with the sirens and the water and all that. As we're leaving the harbor, then we start flying kites. And then we have a marine biologist on board as well. A board member of ours, Carrie Wilson, comes down from Monterey.
Right.
And, these kids just want to be normal, and we treat them normal and we educate them. Yep. And so we'll stop at like the buoy and they'll explain the difference between a seal, sea lion, dolphins are out there, which most of the time they are, educate them on that. Then we go around the corner, we'll dock and fish. And we've had incredible anglers, best anglers in Southern California aboard these trips, just to increase the odds of them experiencing catching a fish. So we fish. Among the volunteer platform is we'll have like some non-special needs kids, and what a great life lesson for them then to serve appetizers before and after a buffet style lunch, to interact with a variety of different conditions, break down stigmas about special needs kids, and then we've had wounded warriors on board, great therapy for them as well. And we fish, but then we entertain them. And we have a little gag we do. We'll get a boot, we'll put a rock in it, throw it over the bow when nobody's looking, and the captain's in on it. We'll say, "Hey, we just hooked up with a shark,
You got me.
Yeah. And everybody that hasn't experienced it, it's 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'll go from the bow to the stern, hot rail, pull up your lines, lines. Everybody's anticipating, a shark, and up comes the boot, And then we'll do a little line dance around the boat, with the kids, playing tambourines, marachas, different instruments. And they end up on the stern of the boat, where then we teach them the Fish for Life dance to get their attention. And while they're all focused on that, then a friend with a private boat comes around the bow, drops off a diver that goes under our boat, and then a mermaid.
Right.
And then it's, a mermaid. And we stage that too for the kids that still believe in Santa Claus to be like, "Where'd you come from?" "Oh, I was just heading up to Newport, want to stop by, say hi." "Oh, great. Cool." So she does her thing. And then to justify her getting on a boat, we'll say, "Hey, will you go back to the dock so the kids can get pictures?" "Sure." And then we'll yell out to my friend, "Hey, buddy," like we don't know him. "Will you take her back to the harbor?" So load her up and off they go, And then on the way back, we'll have because we create teams on the trips, we'll have fishing team leaders, and typically it's 2-to-1 ratio. We'll have the fishing team leaders then get up and present a medallion to the children they spent the day with.
Right.
They have what they caught, something funny, whatever, but then take that opportunity to give the child a chance to express themselves. And if that isn't just adorable,
that's amazing.
You just never know. How about it?
Yeah. Some kids say nothing, and one kid got up and gave I think a 5-minute speech or something. He just went on and on and on. It's like, wow, this is amazing. So that's pretty special. That was a surprise to me.
No, it's a big deal for them, and for their parents to see this, it's just what a thrill. And then as we're coming into the harbor, we'll say, "Oh my gosh, we got a problem. A pirate tied up the mermaid, so we need your help. They don't like getting wet." So we pass out water guns to all the kids. And then as we're docking, "All right, let them have it." And they'll blast the pirate with water. And then we have a board member. He's a little man, a little Disney actor. He'll get off the boat, and it's designed like in a lesson not to bully, where he'll confront the pirate and say, what are you doing? This is all about kindness and love, and shame on you. And it ends with him saying, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me, as he's getting blasted.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun.
So and that's kind of in a nutshell,
Yeah.
the feature, the main
Well,
feature.
that's a great description because I've lived every moment of that, and it's exactly how you explained it, and it's very touching. And these kids, the whole morning, they're engaged, they're feeling important and cared for, and having a great time learning things new. And what more can you ask for a kid? Any kid. So
Oh,
it's
oh,
amazing.
oh,
So that's the reason we were. I got involved, and I said you said we should do one of these in San Diego. So we support it. We did some articles about it. And full disclosure to everyone watching this, we didn't expect this to happen, but we are full, right? We're already full for this
well,
trip.
yeah, no, November 13th will be the trip. And if whoever's watching, if you're available, come see the opening
Yeah.
ceremonies. It's really touching. And then for anyone, that has a special needs child or friend or a family member or whatever, you can go online to our website, www.fish4life.org. I see it scrolled, and register your child to be on a standby list for a trip next when we start up next spring.
Exactly. So that's great. And also this takes money. It is a nonprofit organization. So you've got some great sponsors down here. I mean, we help with media and things like that, but you've got Wired Fiber. It's down in Chula Vista. They're the main sponsor of this event. So they pitched in with some funds and things to help out and pay for some of these. All this stuff costs money. You got to get a boat and some
You
gas.
bet. No, they're funding the whole enchilada,
Yeah.
and it's a great opportunity. I mean, we're fighting for these kids, so we
Yeah.
definitely need help from sponsors. Companies are just great, especially if they have a big enough campus with employees that have a special needs child. We
Right.
can recruit them and all that. And really satisfies their corporate social responsibility as well, community outreaches,
Mhm.
and then foundations, that have a heart for this as well,
Right. Yeah. So if
and
you're
then
watching this and you wanna give back, just the numbers are down below. We'll say it again later, but reach out to Jim and find out how you can help. And the more help we can get, the more events we can have here in San Diego, the more kids we can help out, or you can help out. And don't forget to reach out and plan for the next one.
you bet, you bet. And then Brad, beyond, you can see, the trips are feature rich, but the benefits, and we've had ABA therapists on board, as observers,
Mhm.
to educate us post trips as to, are we missing any opportunities with what we have available, or is there anything we're doing wrong? For example, lower function autistic kids, loud music just doesn't work.
Mm.
So, to be sensitive to their needs,
Right.
and we have some great tools on board too, like, some of these kids will have like sensory overload, and they'll have to go into what they call self-reflection. And the bait tank is the best tool in the world for that.
Uh,
They love just their
yeah.
mesmerized with all these little fish around and all that.
Mhm.
But the families in general, and I talk to every parent prior to the trips, and I mean, they tend to feel like outcasts of society
Yeah.
and have avoided doing something so normal that we take for granted as fishing.
Mhm.
And we show them, hey, you can do this, and it's
Yeah.
all about them. And it's just so, I mean, for the kids, the chaperones, and then the volunteers. I mean, everybody on board, gets off that boat with such a deep sense of gratitude.
No doubt about it. And the parents, it's sometimes they're out there by themselves dealing with these, and it's a big job caring for someone with special needs like that, no matter what level it is. So when they can get in a group of their peers, so to speak, and other parents, I know they were communicating with each other when I was there, and it's just they form new networks and new communities, and they're all in the same boat, and they have the same kinds of challenges. So that understanding that goes on between them reaches them sometimes in a way that they don't get from day to day life dealing with that stuff. So it's an amazing event. It really is. And I'm excited to be there this year again. And it's November 13th. You certainly, while we're full, we have a full boat, but If you're not doing anything that morning, what time does it start, Jim? Or what time does National Anthem?
The guests will be checking in at 8:30. 9 o'clock is when we'll want to kick off the opening ceremonies.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so
that's at Fisherman's Landing, right?
at Fisherman's Landing,
Here in San Diego, and
San
we
Diego.
can put that up. But just Google it, Fisherman's Landing. It's on Shelter Island. Can't remember where it is. Anyway, Google it. I forget what island it is. I should have known that. But anyway, come down and watch. I mean, it's just spend a half an hour, 45 minutes while these kids are getting on the boat, and you'll be a changed person. It's
You bet.
incredible. So,
and too, another benefit from this over the years is to inspire others. Hey, get out there and serve. Go out there. What's your thing? Get it going.
Exactly. Yeah.
With all this craziness going on in the world now, we need some more feel good, some more love.
Yeah, we were just talking in the show before to a doctor, and it's, we talked about health, and people don't think until you get sick, you don't appreciate your health. And it's kind of the same thing when you're exposed to helping other people that way, or seeing other people help and change lives. You may go through days or years or whatever and forget that that's a part of life you should be exploiting or exploring, at least. So it got me going, that's for sure. And it's like, geez, I should do more of this kind of stuff. So that's why we're doing this. I'm happy to help. It's an amazing event. You're changing lives, and you're inspiring people to go out and change other lives. So thanks for what you do. Is there any other one you want to mention that's involved in this? Or I know there's a lot of people that are helping out, but I want to make sure they get a shout out, if nothing else.
Oh, you bet. Just our volunteers, we just got the most loving, thoughtful volunteers, an army of volunteers. And I'll tell you, a dilemma that we have is, we just have to have more trips, because there's so many kids that want an opportunity to do this, as well as volunteers that want to get involved. And, hey, we just have to do more trips. Period.
Well, we have 4.5 million people in the county of San Diego. So, let's get out there and let's get more of these going. It takes a village, and it takes a team, and we'll get this going. By the way, before I forget, Sarah just gave me the address for Fisherman's Landing. It's 2838 Garrison Street here in San Diego. So 2838 Garrison Street, Fisherman's Landing. If you get lost, Google it. But it is November 13th, around 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock is when things get going. And the biggest show for people not involved in the event is the kids getting on the boat. So come on down. It's a great event.
You bet. No, and I tell you, Brad, too, the kids, they are the stars of the show,
Absolutely.
But we have, too, over the years, gosh, we've got a lot of celebrity types as well that have been really supportive. A lot of ball players, Steve Erline has been involved, Wes Chandler, Vince Van Patten. It's just so cool. And, people with the right heart that really want to get out there and serve,
Well, Wes Chandler, for one, is obviously a legend here in San Diego with the Chargers. And actually, Wes is the reason I found you. So thank you, Wes, if you're listening out there. You're changing lives in lots of things you do. And this is just one more. So don't want to neglect that big shout out for Wes. So anyway, well, thanks for being with us. We will see everyone I'll see you on the 13th. And I hope some people will come out and watch. It'll be worth it. And even if you miss this event, whether you reach out and give some money, give some time, volunteer, just follow fishforlife.org and find out what we're doing. And we'll be back in San Diego sometime this spring too. So thanks again, Jim. That's our show.
Brad, thank you for all your support. Really appreciate it.
More than happy to do it, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. A week from, is that a Sunday, right?
That's a Sunday.
Yep. Sunday. Okay. Sunday the 13th.
Yes. Not this coming Sunday, next Sunday. Right. Yeah.
November 13th. So we will see you then. That's our show, Simply Local San Diego. I do want to thank our sponsors, Attorney King, of course, Saquon Casino, IB Fitness, and we will see you next time. Thanks again, Jim.
All right. We'll see you down at the docks.
Down at the docks.
All right.